What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm Warren Thompson, and today we have some pretty juicy details about Avengers the Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. Now, the next movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that is coming out is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And in this movie, it's going to set up Avengers the Kang Dynasty, and it's going to show us exactly who Kang the Conqueror is, and also show us some of his variants as well. And variants are going to be a major part of the Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. And I'm not just talking about good variants either. We are going to see some evil variants of certain characters that we probably love. Now, this isn't going to be like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where we only saw a few different variants. It's not going to be like that. Secret Wars is going to have a ton of different variants and hopefully played by a lot of cool different actors. And it looks like we know how exactly all of these variants are going to come together in Avengers Secret Wars and what causes them to come together, the events in the Kang Dynasty. And that's what we're going to be breaking down today. Now, just a heads up, these are leaks/rumors, and I am going to be adding a theory of my own, and if any of this ends up being true, there will be some spoilers for the Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. So this is your official spoiler alert. Now, as I mentioned before, there's an order of events here that needs to happen, and the first one is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Like I said, this will introduce us to a few different variants of Kang, but most importantly, this will introduce us to the main variant of Kang, the Kang the Conqueror, who is going to end up being the main villain of the Kang Dynasty. Now, I don't think there's really any spoilers or shock there. We all know that Kang's not going anywhere. We know Ant-Man's not going to kill Kang or all of the Kangs in Quantumania because we have a movie called The Kang Dynasty coming up after. But it is important to note we'll meet the main Kang in Quantumania. Now, moving into the Kang Dynasty, here's one of the reports that we have today coming from our buddy Paul over at Heavy Spoilers. And Paul has been known to be accurate with his information, so here we go. He says that the Kang Dynasty ends with Kang, the same Kang from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, conquering many worlds and defeating our team of Avengers. This will then lead to Secret Wars, where the Avengers search the multiverse for more heroes to help. So basically, what we have here is kind of the same format of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. The Kang Dynasty will end essentially with the villain winning, the heroes losing, and the next movie will be about redemption, or I should say, them avenging. Only this time, instead of their own universe, it's going to be many different universes, many different worlds, many different life forms, billions and billions of people that they have to save. Now, before we dive deeper into this real quick, I want to mention Doom. And I want to mention Doom because Doom hasn't actually been mentioned. There's been a lot of talk on whether or not Dr. Doom was supposed to be in Black Panther 2 or not, whether he's going to show up in Avengers Secret Wars and possibly take the powers of Kang or the Beyonder like he does in the Secret Wars comics. And unfortunately, I think we're leaning more and more towards Dr. Doom not showing up in the multiversal saga. And I hate to say it, and I'm super bummed about it. However, I do think Dr. Doom should probably have his own saga. Trust me, I want Dr. Doom to appear. It would be really cool if he appeared in Secret Wars, but I don't think he's a villain that should just show up and then be gone. If Dr. Doom does show up in Secret Wars, I hope he's a variant of the main universe. That way, when everything kind of goes back to normal after Secret Wars, or whatever the norm will be after Secret Wars, because we know the MCU will change, that's when I want Dr. Doom to come in. And at that time, whoever's left on the Avengers and the other heroes will probably know to look out for Dr. Doom if he is indeed a villain in Secret Wars. But if not, I hope he gets an entire saga dedicated to him because he is a top 10, top 5, possibly the best Marvel villain there is. But as of right now, we haven't really heard much about Doom showing up in the Kang Dynasty or Avengers Secret Wars. But of course, if we hear anything, we'll be sure to let you know. But back to the plots for the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Much like Avengers Infinity War, where Thanos won by snapping, there's going to be a major event where Kang defeats the Avengers and ends up dominating and conquering different worlds. Now, what's also really interesting about this is that there are still 2 movies in between the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, and if the team is going to lose in the Kang Dynasty, that means the 2 movies in between are going to be very, very important. Avengers Infinity War and Endgame were back to back, but that won't exactly be the case for the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. But let's talk about Secret Wars now. In Secret Wars, the Avengers are obviously going to travel to other universes to ask more heroes for help. This is where things get truly amazing. And this is where the potential is literally limitless. Anything is literally possible in this movie. It's basically what we hoped Doctor Strange was going to be. We're going to see our main heroes traveling throughout the multiverse, going to other worlds, talking to variants of themselves, and variants that we probably haven't seen in our main universe yet. So we are going to have a multiversal Avengers team, which is really cool to think about. Now, there are a few different ways that they could play this in Secret Wars. One is that all of the different variants could come together on one world and fight the main Kang the Conqueror, or two, they could all fight in their own universes. And three would be a combination of both, which I do think is going to happen. Because like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, there aren't just going to be good variants, but there are going to be bad variants as well, and these variants are going to be working for Kang. And I actually believe we could see some of these variants show up in Ant-Man 3. These variants could be variants of good superheroes, but could be evil themselves. Remember, not every variant has to be good. We saw an evil variant in Doctor Strange, and he is definitely not the only evil variant out there. And rumor has it that some of these evil variants are actually going to end up working for Kang, which makes sense. We've already seen that he has an army, a really huge army, so it would make sense that he would have other people work for him, other villains who also want to conquer. And like they say, if you can't beat them, join them, which is probably the mentality of all of these evil variants that we'll see. So I think Secret Wars will be a combination of fights happening in multiple worlds, but then a giant, huge fight taking place in one universe against the main Kang the Conqueror. And this is the big show. This is going to be what is going to make Avengers Secret Wars bigger than Infinity War, bigger than Endgame, bigger than anything. This is where we finally see variants of our favorite characters fighting together against Kang and possibly other variants of our favorite characters, but who are evil. And I do believe that if they pull this off in the right way, it will be bigger than Infinity War and Endgame. And I do like this style. It does work. I like the idea of the villain winning in the first movie, and in the second movie, the Avengers avenge. There are going to be some similarities, and it looks like the quantum realm is indeed still going to be a pretty big part. However, I do think it'll be different because Mr. Fantastic will be in the MCU at this point in time, and perhaps he will discover some form of time travel that is much more controllable and could even travel to different universes. I think the Fantastic Four are going to be an extremely important part to both of these films and to saving the entire multiverse. The first time travel technology that Kang actually finds is a remnant of technology that Mr. Fantastic made. And Nathaniel Richards, aka Kang the Conqueror, is believed to be a descendant of Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic. So there'll probably be a pretty cool connection there as well. But I, for one, am just really excited to see all of the different variants, all of the different worlds and universes, and just see a huge, big, multiversal collision. So I'm definitely all for this. This definitely makes sense. Kang the Conqueror is a serious threat. It would make sense that he would win, especially since his technology seems to be a lot more advanced than what we know right now. So him winning in the first movie makes sense, but of course the Avengers have to avenge, they have to come back, and they eventually have to win, which is going to happen in Secret Wars. However, I do think there will be some consequences, but that is for a different video. In the meantime, let me know what you think about these plot details in the comments down below. Do you like this? Do you not? Let me know. And please don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest news. And for live updates, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.